a Division I wrestler and then a Division III three-time All-American. It was a badass fight. Yeah. I loved when you get guys in there that are in their prime, you know, everything's on the line, and you could tell they both want it so bad, and they're both digging deep, and you get to that point where you've never been pushed that hard. You could tell that the big boy has never been pushed that hard. He got tested tonight, and like I said, he passed the test.
I'm curious about that one because in the main event with Malik, he did look great. It's clear he's got the physical tools, right? But it seems like very early in his career, like you said, hadn't been tested. Did that concern you at all to say, you know, let's put this guy into the UFC right now?
No, I think that, you know, if you look at him, right, if you look at what he's done, what he's accomplished, and right now he's 6-0. Tonight was the biggest fight of his night. Tonight was the big stage. And I guarantee both these guys are stud athletes. I guarantee that you burn a lot of nervous energy, and you get in there, and, you know, now you've done it. Now the next one he's got to get under his belt is he'll be on a prelim of one of the cards, and he'll get his first UFC fight under his belt, and then he's on his way. Nice. I mean, the guy's 26 years old. He's undefeated. If not now, when? We're going to wait 2 years and bring him in when he's, you know, 29? Nah. It's time. It's time or it's not time. He is or he is not. That's up to him.
I love it. All right, Kavanaugh, Delgado, those were pretty much automatics. I think we all knew that. What got you over the hump with Lopez? Seemed like we were all kind of iffy on that one.
So I don't disagree with you. I literally said to both the matchmakers, Sean and Mick, I said, this guy wants to quit right now. Make him quit. Put the pressure on him. Go, you know, as soon as I said it, he hit him with that knee to the body and then started going to his body. And I was like, all right, he did it. He's got a good story. You know, now he's 13-1. If not now, never for this kid. I'm going to give him the shot. You know, if I didn't pick him and the other kid, nobody would say, yeah, I don't disagree. But I don't know. I like the kid's story. Called his wife. He's crying. I made it in the UFC. He's got to get back in the gym and work on some stuff. He's got to work on his conditioning, and he definitely needs to get a little more killer instinct and go after it. Because once he gets, you guys know, I'm preaching to the preachers here. Once you get in here, these are all killers here, man. So he's going to get his opportunity. Now it's up to him.
Nice. A couple overall questions. You talked about how successful the show is right now. We know you're talking about rights deals and that sort of thing. You got the Ultimate Fighter wrapping up right now. When this new deal comes in place, does the Ultimate Fighter, Dana White's Contender Series, does that go with the UFC, or do you see situations where they end up in different places? How do you see the future?
The UFC could end up in different places. I mean, we could be like football and end up on a bunch of different networks between, you know, pay-per-views, fight nights, Contender Series, tough. Who knows how it's all going to play out because, you know, the entire landscape is changing in the television world and the rights deals. But, yeah, this could end up anywhere. But I can guarantee you it will end up somewhere.
100%. The UFC Apex here, very clearly under construction outside as we roll in. I guess, what can you update us on, you know, the plans? And also, we've heard rumors that maybe it's going to have to close for a while because so much work is being done here. What is the future of the Apex?
Yeah, we're doing a $20 million expansion here. We're going to invest a lot of money in this place. And we got some pretty big announcements coming up in the next 6 months. So it'll all sort of make sense on what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Sounds good. Last thing I'll ask you, obviously a big pay-per-view this weekend as well. What can you tell us about the expectations for this title fight, the bitter rivalry finally coming to a close? Early reports of tension down there, I guess. Just what can you tell us about this weekend?
Yeah, I'm sure. You know, big fight. You know, every time guys hate each other like this, you know, the fight usually ends up sucking. But I have a really good feeling this one won't. You know, you're talking about, you know, if you look at what Israel Adesanya has achieved in his life, not just here, but in kickboxing too, and Dricus, he brings it, man. He comes, and you have one of these situations where both guys, everything is on the line, especially because they dislike each other so much. And if he can beat Izzy and bring that belt back to South Africa, obviously, we'll do an event there. And if Izzy can retain and win the title, it's huge for him and his legacy. Not retain, but regain.
Dana, why do you think this format has been more successful than the other ones in terms of producing quality talent?
Well, it hasn't. I wouldn't say that it's just newer. I mean, The Ultimate Fighter produced everybody, and you know, in the early days of the UFC from 2005 to 16. You know what I mean? And then we started this, just a new format, different. I mean, same thing with looking for a fight. I'm too fucking busy to go out and do looking for a fight as much as I used to. But, you know, if you look at Marab came off looking for a fight. So they're all different in their own ways. You know, The Ultimate Fighter, you get to, it's such a pressure cooker, and you get to learn more about the guys, who they are, who you like, who you don't like. And it's literally the ultimate media training for these guys. Have cameras in their faces for 6-7 weeks. And they become comfortable around them, and it becomes normal to them. Away from home, da-da-da-da. This one, what I love about this is it's such a different style, because it's the best unsigned guys in the world. They know what to expect now. I'm not just looking for the win. I'm looking for people that are special. You got to come in and really, I don't see this shit till I walk. Tonight, I come in, and this is right in front of me. I'm like, oh, this guy's this, that. And I don't care about any of this, right? I care about it after you win and you impress me. Then it means something. So it's a very unique experience, not just for them, but for us and for the people watching.
Have you ever seen a more violent knockout? Because the kid was on the ground than Kavanaugh's. That kid was on the ground a long time, and it was kind of scary there for a while.
Yeah, no, that was vicious. One of the nastiest knockouts we've ever seen on the show, and we've seen some shit on this show. But, yeah. And, again, that kid's no slouch either. It's not like you saw this vicious knockout against the can that you threw in there against somebody that's on the rise. That was a real fight, two real guys. I'm excited to see what Kavanaugh does in the UFC.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
I've been seeing a lot of fighters posting that they want to be on the John Jones card in November. I'm just curious if you can update if there is a John Jones card in November that we don't
There's
know
not
about
yet, but there will be. There's not yet, and yeah, we were literally talking about that today. We'll start building that card soon.
I saw that you and Connor were both in Sturgis. I'm wondering if you guys met at all and talked about the potential of his fight as well?
We talked, yeah. We talked. We didn't meet up, but we talked. And yeah, he wants to fight, so we'll figure it out.
Soon? By the end
Not
of this
year?
year?
He won't fight this year.
And then just one more about the construction. I know you said there's an announcement coming, but do you anticipate maybe during the time that it's closed, we could see fight night cards here in Vegas, but at other locations like Durango or
I don't know if it's true that it's closing. I don't know how that's going to work out, but yeah, I don't know enough about that. Okay. But you know, we're open to traveling around to many different places now. More open than I was a couple years ago.
Right. Thank you.
Dana, you told Jim Rome that Sean Strickland's getting the next crack at the title. So where does that leave Robert Whitaker versus Khamzat Chimaev?
Well, what I was saying is he's ranked #1 in the world. He deserves the fight if that happens. But, you know, you never know what can happen, how these fights could play out. But what I did say on Jim Rome is we got a lot of fun things happening in the middleweight division coming into 25.
So it's basically just timing, who looks the best, stuff like that.
Yeah, Strickland deserves it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dana, over here. I saw you were pretty excited after the Delgado performance. I saw you stood up and went over to congratulate him. What did you say to Jose Delgado after you got the win?
Well, I mean, when you see me get up and walk somewhere to go talk to somebody, I was really blown away and impressed by you, whether you won or lost. I don't remember exactly what I said, but when I do that, I tell the kids, you know, unbelievable. I mean, there's a couple of these fights that you could take both guys and you wouldn't be disappointed. And the guys that lose fights like that, get back in the gym, get your shit together, start training. You definitely got a future in the UFC. You know, one of these guys could get back, get a win under their belt in another show, and when somebody falls out, you know, Sean or Mick could end up calling them. We saw a couple of those guys tonight.
That was going to lead me right into my next one. I saw you keep walking straight down. Did you go say something to Ernie Juarez? Did you, like, console him or something after that? Because, I mean, it was a good fight.
Which one?
Ernie Juarez, the one who lost to
Yeah.
Delgado. Did you speak to him? Because I saw you heading that.
I did. Yeah, I said, you got nothing to be bummed out about, man. Yeah, you didn't get the win tonight, but sometimes in losing you win. You know what I mean? And that was definitely the case with him and the main event. Both guys showed. This is about, don't come in here and fucking run around, try to, who are you? What do you got? Show us who you have. The whole world's watching you tonight. We trended #1 in the United States and #7 worldwide. Literally, the world is watching you. Who are you? Show us. Nobody just wants to see guys fucking shoot and push against the cage and try to win. You're obviously talented enough to be here. Show us what you got. Whether you win or lose, you can show us who you are. And you do that in losing sometimes, too. And that's why when you see me get up and a guy lost, I'm fucking impressed.
That also leads me right into my next one again. For you, from your point of view, how was that momentum shift in the night when we got to that 4th fight after seeing the 3 finishes in a row?
How did what?
How was the momentum shift from your point of view after seeing 3 finishes into going into the 4th fight of the night?
I think it's what it is. It's not for me. It's for the fighters. If the fighters are in back and you're watching these performances and you're like, Jesus Christ, I got to, you watch the first fight with Kavanaugh. Shit, I'm next. I got to go. How do I beat this, right? The pressure mounts for the fighters. They saw what happened, and now they got to go out there and perform. But if Sean and Mick brought you in here and are giving you this opportunity, especially when you look at Delgado, right? This guy came in, what was it, 11 days notice. He came in on 11 days notice, and look at the way he fought tonight. And Ernie, too. That's another kid that looked really good. He looked good. He looked tough. And, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but
yeah, you did. Yeah, and,
that's my answer.
Last one for me, one from outside. And I saw you mention how the rivalries usually end up being not so good inside the fight. I guess people felt that way with the Makhachev-Kopp fight back in England, and we all know what happened with Makhachev after. But he went out and said that he'd fight for free to get back in the UFC since it was his dream. Did he ever go up to you guys and actually talk about stuff like that?
Of course, nobody's going to fight for free. People can talk
all
the shit. People can talk all the shit they want about how we pay, but nobody's fighting for free. It is what it is. I always say that this is an opportunity to be here and to perform in front of the entire world. And, he's just a guy that did everything wrong and pissed these guys off. I wasn't involved in any of the stuff that happened with him, but, the matchmakers and Hunter were, and they weren't happy with him. They weren't happy with the way he acted. They weren't happy with a lot of things he did and said, and, I guess you can look back now and regret it, but you did it. You did it, and you put yourself in this position.
Thank you.
Yep. Good? Have a good night.
Congratulations about the win. Right to your right, in the front. Is that on the biggest stage, probably, I'm guessing your biggest knockout ever? If you had a better one than that, I want to see it. But how does it feel to perform at such a high level when the pressure is the greatest on you?
You know what, like, I like to feel like I perform quite well under pressure. I like to feel like I perform kind of well under pressure. I have such a good team behind me. We prepped so hard for this fight, and I feel like it showed in my performance. So I just want to say a massive thank you to my coaches, and yeah, got me here.
You're going in against this wasn't just another guy. This was a guy that people had hopes for that he could be good. So did you have any kind of idea in your mind that you're going to score some, amazing knockout and leave him flat on the ground for however long it was?
No, I never chase a knockout. I think like it's a silly thing to do, but I did have a feeling that I was going to knock him out. If it was there, I'd take it. If it wasn't, I'm happy to go the 3 rounds. Unfortunately, it was there, and I took it.
And just the last question, when you look at the UFC flyweight division, how do you think you match up, and how quickly do you think you can make a move and get somewhere?
I think the flyweight division is very good, but I do think there's room for me to climb my way up to the top. I've said to my manager, I've said to the guys here, I want to make it to the top as soon as possible. I'm not here to hang about. I mean, I want to get to the top, and I want to stay there.
I'm just curious. I imagine that you probably thought about this moment for a long time, the moment you became a UFC fighter. How does it stack up to what you thought it would be?
To be honest with you, it hasn't really kicked in yet. I'm still quite happy. I can't stop smiling. So I'm very happy to be where I am right now. But it still feels like a dream. So I'm sure when it kicks in, I'll be able to think about it a bit more. But at the moment, I'm on cloud 9, so I feel amazing.
And I know it's probably really early to think about this, but picturing your UFC debut, do you have any dreams of where you'd like it to be, or an opponent you'd like to fight, or a city you'd like to fight in, anything like that?
I don't have a particular opponent in mind. I'd love to fight in London. Fighting in front of my home crowd would be amazing. But to be honest with you, I'm here to go wherever the UFC takes me. It's such a good sport, and I can travel the world doing this sport. So I look forward to where my career takes me.
Thank you.
I think a lot of hardcore fans, when they saw this matchup between you and Ann, it's one of the best fights of the entire season. Were you surprised that they matched you two up, considering you two are some of the best flyweights on the planet right now?
I didn't think too much about it. I know he was good, and he has to be to get to where he is now. And I was kind of looking forward to it, though. I was looking forward to be tested. I was looking forward to fighting someone that everyone else thinks is good as well, and that is very good. I feel like that brings out the best in me. And I like to show that I can beat these guys, and that's what I like to think I showed.
Where were you when you got the phone call that you were going to compete for a UFC contract?
Literally, as soon as my last fight happened, I signed with First Round Management, signed with Jose, and then I got the call, signed with them on Sunday, got the call on Tuesday, and I was like, sweet, we're going now, we're going.
And then finally, fighting in Las Vegas, fight capital of the world, you get a viral knockout, violent viral knockout. How does it all kind of just feel?
Again, it hasn't really sunk in yet. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like, my phone's blowing up. Yeah, it feels amazing. Again, once it sinks in, I'll sure be able to process a little bit more. But the main thing is, the intro pack is now complete, and now we're on to the main quest, and that's to get to the top as fast as I can.
Over here. Congratulations on the contract. First off, obviously, you're another addition to the UK MMA talent that continues to rise. So how does it feel to be part of that, and what's going to differentiate you from the rest of the crop that's coming out right now?
I think the UK has a lot of talent behind them, even though at the moment the talent pool is quite small. So I'm looking to be a big standout in that, and just keep having exciting fights and keep hopefully getting exciting finishes like I did tonight. So I'm going to put the UK on the map. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Sure, and UFC and ESPN uploaded your knockout on social media, and it's not every day they necessarily do that and to post it on Instagram and all that, so I guess how does it feel to hear that and see your clip going viral?
Yeah, that feels amazing. I said to my coaches, I was like, I didn't realize it was like a big viral knockout, and seeing them post it and stuff like that, it's insane. Again, it hasn't really sunk in yet. I'm still kind of processing everything. But once it sinks in, I'll be celebrating properly.
Sure, and I know you just got your contract, but do you see the opening in the 125-pound division right now, given how, the parity is up there with the top guys?
I do definitely see my opening there. And like I said, I'm looking to get to the top as quick as I can. So, yeah, I'm ready, basically. This is where I'm meant to be, and this is what I was designed for. I'm ready for it. Thank you.
I just have one more. After the win, your opponent stayed down on the ground for quite a bit. How is that seeing, what you've just done? You want to be happy and excited for, your win, but then you see that. What's the process like for you in there?
Of course, Ian, that's never nice. Like at the beginning, there's so much going on in your head. There's so much adrenaline going on, and so you're over the moon at first. But then when you see it takes them a little bit longer to wake up. It's never nice seeing. I'm not someone that likes to hate. I don't like when fighters chat rubbish. I'm not going to try to swear, but chat rubbish to other fighters. Like
talk shit if you want it.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm not one to see fighters chat shit. I don't think it makes a difference. So seeing my opponent like that, it was never nice. But yeah, I'm just thankful for what it did for me, basically.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey everyone.
Hello, congratulations. How are you feeling after a performance like that, and now you're a UFC fighter?
I feel amazing. This is such an amazing feeling to have my team here, to have my family here, to be able to have that performance. Yeah, it feels incredible.
And I know everybody goes in hoping and expecting to win, but did the fight go the way that you had thought it would go?
Yeah, Ernie Juarez was a tough guy. We knew it. We knew he was going to be tough. That was his defining trait. He had a tough spirit. He was going to persevere. I thought I heard him early and often, but he kept coming back, And I knew it'd be a gritty fight. There was times where I had to check my resolve, fortify my mind, and I was able to secure a knockout. I know I can find it. I can find it on anybody. I can find that knockout. I can find that chin. I can find that neck on anybody in the world.
And I imagine that you thought about this moment for a long time in your career when you can say, I'm officially a UFC fighter. Did it play out the way that you had anticipated it would?
Got this fight, 11 days notice. Thought about every single scenario the first 3 days. Spent the first 3 days like, oh, what if I do this? What if I do this? How do I make today the best version, tomorrow the best version? And then at the end of the day, I just had to really trust the process. It's one of the things we talk about at the MMA Lab is we trust the process. It's a daily thing. So if I just focus on what I can do today, what's the very next step? That was where my mentality was at.
Was it hard not to get a little bit starstruck just in fight week? You know, you're here in the UFC, you're seeing all these things you maybe you've seen before, but it's your time now. Was it hard to center yourself?
I was a little worried about that earlier because I am such a fan of this. I'm such a nerd of the game. I love the sport. I'm seeing Forrest Griffin just walking around. I'm seeing so many people. I'm like, oh, this is like, these are the men. These are like idols to me. But I knew what the job was. I came here. This is a business trip. I came here to do business. I didn't let it sway me.
He was sitting and watching your fight, by the way. Forrest was.
That's awesome.
Looking ahead a little bit, have you thought about your UFC debut? Anybody you'd like to fight? If in a perfect world, who would you call out, and maybe a location or a date or a fight card or anything like that?
Oh, boy, I wish I had an answer for that. I haven't thought about it, to be honest. I spent all my time and energy to get to this position, but this is just the beginning. Now it's time to put the work in. Now it's time to show who I really am day in and day out, and I've done that for the last 16 years. I've been in this game since I was 10 years old. I've had this dream for so many years. So I want to fight the best in the world. I want to show that I'm the best in the world. As far as next, I'm not too sure. I've done 6 weight cuts in the last 10 months. I've taken 5 fights in the last 9 months. So I want some skill development time, but then I want everybody.
Was it difficult to come out and fight after seeing your teammate get knocked out like that?
Of course, but we can't really let that sway us or inform anything we do. it's tough, man. Aang is a stud. This doesn't change who he is. He's one of the best in the world, and he'll come back and prove that. He'll learn a lot from this. But, yeah, it is what it is. I keep myself calm. I keep myself centered. I focus on the very next task, and that was to take out Ernie Juarez.
Where were you when you got the call that you were competing on this show?
I had my nephew over for a sleepover. I was planning a day for him. I was gonna take him to like a ninja kids park. We're gonna go get ice. We're literally about to go get ice cream. I got the call and I was like, "Sorry, man, you're getting ice cream. I'm not. We're not doing trampolines. I'm not busting my ass right before the fight. Fuck that." But we got it done, and yeah, it's been a whirlwind of 11 days. But man, I love the chaos in all aspects of this game.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Jose, on that note of being a student of the game, when you come into this building and you're going into the fight, who do you feel like you emulate your game after?
Dude, I'm an amalgamation of so many people, not just fighters, but just people. I draw inspiration from everybody. I try to learn from everybody that I possibly can. My favorite fighters growing up was Jose Aldo, Anderson Silva, BJ Penn, but everybody, I study everybody, man. I got incredible teammates at the MMA lab. I got Benson Henderson over there. We got our head coach, John Crouch. We have Mario Bautista. I trained with Mario Bautista last Monday. Last Tuesday, I trained with Maniac McGee last Monday. I draw inspiration from all my teammates, from everybody in the game, and then from all my people. I've seen people work so goddamn hard, like unbelievably hard. Their hard work has inspired me, man. I'm from Yuma, Arizona. Yuma, Arizona has inspired me. Phoenix, Arizona has inspired me. Paredones has inspired me. I'm just the amalgamation of a ton of people.
Well, with all those sacrifices and all those victories, small and large, where does this rank for you in your career?
This is the sweetest moment by far, but I want more. There will be many more sweet moments, man. I want legacy. I want years and years. I'm not in here to be a flash in the pan. I want legacy. I want to put my family name with the likes of Henderson, with the likes of Silva, with the likes of Aldo. I believe I'm cut from that cloth, and I want to show that.
So, quick one for me. Congratulations first off. How did it feel to see Dana stand up and go congratulate you? I mean, we can tell you that he doesn't do that every time, so I guess how does it feel to see that?
Oh, man, Dana's a legend, man. He's done so much for this sport. I've been such a fan of this sport since I started in 2008. The sport has grown so much to watch. This is one of the UFC buildings. It's one of them, the Apex, PI. To see Dana White was an honor, man. He's done so much for this game, the thing I love to do, and it was awesome. I was looking for his ass after the fight. I couldn't find him, but then he came up to me, so it worked out.
Obviously, a lot of fans were big on your guys' fight. They loved it. So what is your mentality you carry in a brawl-type scenario?
I think first and foremost, I respect this craft to the best of my ability. I care about this. I'm intentional each and every day. But fuck, I like to bang too. So it's the two sides of that coin. I'm trying to be as techno as I can, and then I'm trying to swing it as hard as I can.
Last one for me. We know the MMA lab carries a lot of great talents inside that gym, but especially in those 35, 45 weight classes. So what can we expect in the coming months, years from the MMA lab?
Expect what you've been expecting, man. These guys have produced greatness for so many years. Since 2007, the building's been established, and you can expect that to come, man. Antoine Ho is coming back, and he's going to come back and get what's his. We have so many. Leslie Hernandez just got her shot. She'll be on in October. She's coming in, and she's taking what's hers. You can just expect greatness.
Thank you.
Congrats, my man, on the win. Just kind of like piggybacking off of what you talked with Wyatt and Geronimo. Arizona continues to just build. It's been on the map. And you got such huge names from a Benson Henderson, WEC, UFC champion, a Cain Velasquez, a Sean O'Malley. How crazy is that to be part of that legacy potentially now that your UFC career has begun?
It feels amazing to follow in their footsteps. And let's speak on Yuma, Arizona. I mean, Yuma, Arizona has produced Cain Velasquez, has produced Calvin Gastelum, Efrain Escudero, Edgar Garcia. It's a small town, and it's produced a lot of incredible talent. And it speaks to the mentality of the culture. This is a culture of hardworking people, man. We've seen people work so hard. I can't stress that enough, and I think that's what inspires us all, and it makes us want to strive to be great, to let them know that hard work wasn't taken in vain.
For sure. And lastly, being a a nerd, being a you're about that life, you're about the game. How crazy again and almost ironic is it, but yet perfect that you got the call just like you hear so many other greats before you. There wasn't no perfect like, hey man, we got word a couple months from now they're lining something up. We got the weight class, we got the opponent. No, it was just as chaotic as it could have been, but could it have been any more perfect?
Dude, from the very first day I stepped on the mats, the very first hour, I was like, this is the most chaotic shit I've ever been a part of. But I love it. Like, I love being in the chaos. I love the whirlwind of it all. I love the doubt. I love the questions. Like, oh, shit, can I get this done? Can I be what I got to be? I love all of that. Like, that's such a fascinating part. Ideal world, sure, we'll take 2 months. We'll take 3 months, but we'll take it how we get it.
That's awesome, man. Well, welcome to the chaos and congrats on that contract.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Tranquilo. Noite é sua.
Well, congratulations on the win. How are you feeling after that, and how does it feel to be a UFC fighter?
Parabéns pela vitória. Como é que você está se sentindo depois de tudo que aconteceu? E como é que você se sente de ser um lutador do UFC?
Obrigado. Estou muito feliz. Foram muitos anos para chegar até aqui. Estou realizando um sonho que eu tinha de menino desde os meus 15 anos, quando eu iniciei na arte marcial. Sonhava em lutar no UFC e estou realizando um sonho.
Thank you. I'm very happy. I worked a lot to get here. I'm making a dream come true from back when I was 15 years old when I started training MMA. So this is making a dream come true. I made a dream come true.
Did it live up to that dream that you've been thinking about for so long?
E a realidade foi como foi o sonho que você sonhou?
Sim, nunca é fácil, né? Eu já sabia que ia ser uma lutadora, eu estava preparado, ele me acertou ali, mas eu consegui me recuperar e nocautear ele.
Yeah, it's never easy, right? I knew it was going to be hard. He was able to get me there with that shot, but I was able to turn things back and turn things around and able to knock him out.
Did the fight go the way that you had anticipated? Were there any surprises in there?
A luta foi da maneira como você tinha antecipado ou teve alguma surpresa ao longo da luta?
Estava correndo tudo como esperado, né? Eu sabia que ele era um adversário que jogava os golpes com muita força no começo da luta. E a minha estratégia era fazer ele errar, jogar golpe no ar, frustrar ele ali, defender as quedas, fazer ele errar. E só que no meio ali do primeiro round ali, ele me acertou uma mão, mas eu estava vendo tudo, eu estava consciente de tudo que estava acontecendo. E eu sabia que quando passasse o primeiro round, eu ia pressionar ele ali, acertar bons golpes e a luta ia acabar ali mesmo.
Yeah, I think no surprises. We knew that this was going to be like this. We knew that he's a guy that throws really hard, especially in the first round. The strategy was actually making him miss, making him make mistakes, and trying to have him punch some air. Unfortunately, he got me there. But I mean, I kept my cool, stayed with the strategy, and we knew that starting with the second round, the idea was actually to pressure him and to go after him and push him forward because he was going to start to wind down a little bit, and that's what we did.
You know, after the fight, Dana really spoke about how much he likes you as a person, he likes your story. Does that have some extra pressure now going into your UFC career that you have Dana White, that you have to impress and live up to that?
Depois da luta, não sei se você teve a oportunidade de escutar já, mas o Dana falou como, ao falar de você, ele falou como gosta de você como pessoa, gosta da história que você traz para dentro do UFC. Fica mais difícil sabendo que você tem que impressionar o chefe, que ele gosta da tua história, gosta de você, ou você acha que é uma pressão extra?
Não, não acho que é uma pressão, eu acho que é um combustível a mais, sabendo que ele gostou da minha história, gostou do meu estilo e só vai fazer com que eu treine mais e apresente mais coisas para ele, que tem muita coisa ainda para me mostrar que eu não consegui mostrar hoje.
No pressure. It's actually a good thing to have because if he said he liked my story, liked my style, it's actually added fuel because it makes me want, it motivates me and inspires me to do more and come back here and show him more every time I come into the octagon.
And I know it just happened, but have you thought a little bit about how you'd like your UFC debut to go? Any person you'd like to fight, or a location, or a card, or anything like that?
Sei que acabou de acontecer, você acabou de entrar no UFC, mas já pensou em como é que você gostaria que a tua carreira no UFC começasse? Contra alguém que você gostaria de lutar, um lugar onde você gostaria de lutar?
Eu tenho planos de lutar no UFC ainda esse ano. Eu quero lutar em novembro ou dezembro. Mas por enquanto é um passo por vez. Eu estou chegando agora. Vou ver o que o UFC tem para mim e conquistando um passo por vez, um degrau por vez.
I do have a plan to fight in the UFC before the end of the year. I'm going to say November, December. But I think one step at a time, and just follow whatever the UFC wants me to do. I'll do it. All good? All good.
And sir, my man. How you feeling?
I feel absolutely amazing, brother. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, but not as I'm not as good as you, bro. Now that you've had some time to kind of think about your performance, man, like, how'd you feel about it?
I feel good about it. I feel good about it. But I still feel the same as I did when I gave the post-fight interview. I can get better at a lot of different things. I can show different parts of my game, but I'm grateful for the performance. I'm grateful for being able to show parts of me that I haven't been able to show in other fights when it comes to grittiness and determination and pushing through, especially in another round of a fight. I haven't gone past the first round, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to show myself in that second round.
Wes is he has a very funky, weird style. Was there anything that surprised you in the fight?
No, nothing that surprised me, but I've wrestled people like that before where they're very awkward. It's almost like their reactions don't match what they should actually be. He kind of reacts in opposite ways as a normal person would. So it's just a different type of fighter. I was able to conquer it, overcome it. Now we move forward.
Got to a second round. That was the biggest talking point, was he has no cardio. He's only been out of the first. He's never been out of the first round. How does it feel to shut people up after that?
Man, it feels good. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm Mr. Iron Lung. You know, everybody gets tired. It's just how comfortable you are when you are tired. And I showed that aspect of myself, and I'm excited to show other parts of myself as well.
Can you talk about being Eric Nixick's science project and, now being at Extreme Couture full-time and, being in Las Vegas?
That's it, man. Like, I'm literally his science project. I'm the little experiment that is. I'm grateful for all the people in Extreme Couture. I'm grateful for being able to pick each and every single middleweight's mind, even the guys that are smaller than me. I'm grateful to be able to pick their minds and to see their perspectives on different things, techniques, mentalities, because they are where I want to be. So it's just the most beautiful opportunity that I have inside the sport, being able to have these guys right there to just pick their minds.
What's next? What's the perfect return date? Do you want to fight anywhere? What's the perfect time frame for you?
The perfect time frame could be next weekend. But first, I'm going to recuperate, get my mind together, reassess tomorrow, and then we'll see what's next.
And finally, this is a very generic question, but how does it feel to finally be a UFC fighter?
Feels beautiful, man. It feels beautiful, but it also feels familiar. I've seen this so many times in my mind. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I've romanticized this, even as a young kid, and then as I grew into a young man, it became more of a plan instead of a dream, and now I'm here.
I know a lot of guys envision over here to your left, right? I know a lot of guys want to go for that, quick finish in the first round, but do you feel like as a fight like this against Wes that pushed you a bit more, it will benefit you more in the long term given the experience you gained from this fight?
Absolutely, 110%. Man, these types of things make you grow as a man, as a fighter, and as a person. So I'm happy that I got the opportunity to be inside of there, be inside of that moment of grittiness. I just had to man up a little bit, and it is what it is. I overcame it.
Obviously, here in Vegas, Extreme Couture, we see all these guys come from all over the world to come fight for their place in the UFC, and so obviously they're very hyped. They get starstruck here, but do you feel like as if you're maybe even more hyped when you're in here, given the culture you're already around, being in Vegas in the fight capital of the world, and finally being able to say I'm a part of the UFC, and while living here in Vegas too?
Could you repeat that one more time?
Like, given how all these people from all over the world come, seeing the UFC, the Vegas, associate that with the fight capital of the world, but you live here, so do you think you could consider yourself even more hyped to get the contract, given you're already around that culture?
Yes, 110%. I feel like the culture that I'm around highlights every single part of this. I'm literally in there every single day with these guys. Once again, they're in the position that I want to be in. So it's like I'm seeing it. I'm seeing these guys that are already in main events, already fighting for world titles, already in the top 10. So it's like, I want to be there, and not only do I want to be there, but I can be there. I'm competing against these guys every single day, and I see my performances against them. I take that with a grain of salt, and then I look at the landscape of all the other middleweights, and I'm like, I can compete against those guys as well. Not only compete, I can win.
Obviously, Extreme Couture, stacked list of names inside that gym. One of them being Sean Strickland. Dana White just came and said that he'll be next for the title. How does you hearing that? And is there a story you have with Sean Strickland? I know a lot of guys have funny stories with him.
Yeah. A lot of guys have funny stories, but also a lot of people don't know him. That's one of the best people, regardless of MMA, regardless of fighting, that I know. He's a real person. He's an honest man. And I feel like when people don't understand something, they kind of put a negative connotation to that thing. But he's a good man. He's an honest man, and people just get rubbed the wrong way because they don't like that honesty. So maybe it has something to do with themselves, but that's a real man. In addition to that, he's a hell of a fighter. He's world champion caliber, and I believe he will be world champion again.
Sure. And obviously, tying back to Vegas topic with you, do you feel as if now that you're officially in the UFC, living in Vegas, do you feel like a fighter in your specific case may benefit more being here in Vegas and fighting for the UFC rather than maybe another guy that's in a good gym but maybe far away from here?
110%, man. I'm literally in the hotbed. You can only get better in situations like this as long as you understand that practice is practice. You take each day, whether it's good or bad, as a relative experience. I feel like you can get better no matter what. You just have to have a certain type of mentality and a certain type of mind in order to get better every single day. Each day is not going to be the best. Each day is not going to be the worst, but you just got to keep on moving forward, man.
And last one for me. I know when you're inside the cage, there's a lot of emotions that go through, but did you, by any chance, hear your father? He was pretty advocating for you from outside the cage. I'm not sure if you heard him.
Man, I could hear him from the moon and back. That's my man. That's my best friend, and I'm so grateful he was able to be here. But I can always hear him, man. I hear him when I don't want to hear him, if that makes sense. So,
it's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
Going into that second round, congrats on the win in the contract.
Thank you, brother.
What was, just because in case we didn't hear that, what was the conversations like to not only hear those familiar voices to keep everything calm in the madness, but also get you ready for that second round and say like, okay, this is the game plan. This is what we're going to do. This is the openings.
Those voices were reassuring, definitely reassuring. Eric Nixick, Chris Curtis, those are things that we've spoken about many, many, many times before. And hearing them in live play, in live action, was only so similar and so familiar to the thoughts and experiences I've had before this fight. So it was as needed, and I'm grateful I got to hear those things during the fight. They definitely helped me recenter myself.
And how cool is it now that you, like you mentioned with Harold, the guys you train with, your like, you know, brothers in arms and men that have fought at the Apex, and now you can say like, hey, you know what? I fought there too now. I can say I'm an Apex guy.
I mean, it feels amazing, man. It feels amazing. I've seen this place so many different times. I've seen the 3 letters of the UFC on so many different buildings. Now I'm here. Now I'm an employee, and I'm grateful.
It's awesome, man. And last for me, just for fun, your weight class, kind of a big deal fight coming up. Give me a pick, a little analysis. What goes down this weekend?
Of Adesanya and Duplessis. I see Adesanya winning. I see him winning. I see it not being as easy as some people might see it, but I definitely see him winning. I definitely feel he has the edge against a type of opponent like that. But we'll see. You know, this is MMA. This is fighting. Anything can happen. But that's what I believe.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Congrats on the win.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.